Hello, I celebrated my wedding anniversary recently. Well, I should say I celebrated it together with my wife recently. It would have been a bit of an odd thing to celebrate alone. Anyway, what we did was we went out together without the kids. So we were able to drop our two daughters off at my wife's parents for a couple of hours, and then we went out on the evening for a bite to eat and a drink, which doesn't really sound like anything special. But when you have a couple of kids, you don't really get time to do that kind of thing anymore. I don't know. I guess it depends on the family. Maybe some people are able to pay for a babysitter or something like that, or maybe they've got friends that they can leave their kids with. But for us, it is a rare occasion indeed. And the last time that we were able to do this was the last celebration of our wedding anniversary. Well, that might not be strictly true. I think we may have gone out, just the two of us, in England, and left my daughter with my parents, perhaps. I'm trying to recall if that happened or not. It seems a while ago now. But certainly, the last time we did this kind of thing in Japan would have been the last wedding anniversary. So that just goes to show you how infrequently we're able to do this kind of thing now. And, before we would have done this every other week, I would say. It really wasn't an uncommon thing to do. And we enjoyed it quite a lot. It's fun going out and, eating some nice food and drinking some nice drinks. It's just such a rare thing to do. So because of that, it was very much enjoyed by the both of us. The place we ended up going to was nowhere particularly special, to be perfectly honest with you. I know some people, might like to go away to some, fancy restaurant or something like that for their wedding anniversary. But we picked the place that we used to enjoy going to the most. And it's actually one of the sort of like cheapest places of all the places that we used to go to frequently. But it wasn't necessarily about cost. It was about, this was our favorite place that we used to go to. And the reason for that was the food there. We both really enjoyed the food that they served at this place. I mean, we'd gone to quite a few different places, and we decided, like, of all the, I'm going to say pubs, although they're not really pubs. It's what's called izakaya here in Japan. It's sort of like a Japanese pub, but really different from a British pub. So of all the local izakaya that we enjoy going to, this one had the nicest food. And it just so happened to be the cheapest, which, is a plus. My wife actually made a reservation for us. I mean, it's not like an exclusive place where you would typically, want to get a reservation for. But it is a very small place. I mean, I don't think we have like these kind of venues in England, these kind of like bars, pubs type places that are so small. It really is tiny. So it's not like, when I think of making a reservation for somewhere, it's usually somewhere a bit more fancy. But I wouldn't really describe this place as fancy. It's got sort of an old-fashioned feel to it, although it's not an old-fashioned, it's not real, it's not authentic. It's like, that's sort of like the theme of this place, but like sort of old Japanese pub-style theme to it. And it happens to be a chain pub bar thing, but not a big one. I mean, I've seen maybe one or maybe two others in the area that I live, and I get the impression that there aren't many of them, maybe just a handful of these places. So it's sort of a chain, but like an independent chain, if you can say that. It's not like all over the country, that kind of thing. When we arrived and we sat down, it was just a really weird feeling, just going out without the kids and just doing something that we hadn't done for so long, and having some time together as well. And it felt a little awkward, like just something you're not used to doing anymore. But I suppose we quickly got used to it, or maybe it was the fact that we were drinking a bit, and maybe that sort of relaxed us a little. I mean, the first thing I ordered was it's weird. There's these we don't have pints over here. So in England, all beer is measured in pints. You get half a pint or a pint. From what I can tell, there is no standard measurement over here. So you buy a glass, like a small glass or a big glass. They're actually called jockey for some reason. I don't know why. Yes, like the person who rides a horse for sport, they're also called jockeys. And you can get a small jockey or a large jockey in the pubs, bars over here. And all it is, as far as I can tell, is just a normal glass with a handle stuck on the side. But I don't think it has anything to do with the measurement. I imagine that maybe in the small one, you can typically fit around like half a can. Like a 350ml can worth of beer. Although I've had some ones that are even smaller, and I think, maybe there's only like 200ml or less in this one. And as for the big ones, like the large jockeys, I think I've had some that I would say that's probably around about a pint. So, like sort of like around 500 milliliters. And then some of them have been bigger than that. And I know this because it's been like advertised on it, like 700 milliliters. Anyway, I ended up ordering the big one. I went for the 700 milliliter one. And, if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you'll know that lager isn't really my favorite drink. I do prefer ale. But it was hot, and this lager was cold, and I rather enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough to have another one. And I went for the big size again, which was probably a bit too much, to be perfectly honest. But it was, a rare occasion to be able to do this. And like the chances of me and my wife being able to drink together these days are like really slim. So, we just enjoyed it. My wife had what's known as highballs over here, or what's known as whiskey sodas back in England. Actually, that's just made me realize I didn't have a second, like, large, big jockey full of beer. The second one I had was a whiskey soda. So I had, like, one 700ml large glass of beer and one 700ml large glass of whiskey. Well, not whiskey, that would be crazy. I mean, like, whiskey and soda water. As for the food, I think it's all fried, come to think of it. Almost all fried. One of the things that they do that I really like, and I've never had garlic in this way before. I mean, in England, garlic is just this thing that's, added to food, as added to a meal as an ingredient. And you don't always see it in your food. It's just sort of there, but maybe chopped up finely, or sometimes it can go in as a paste. Occasionally you might see it, like slices of it or something. But normally it's just sort of a background flavor. But at this place I went to, you can get a whole, what is it? A bulb of garlic? So the individual pieces are called cloves. But I suppose the whole thing together is called a bulb. Although I'm not sure. We don't tend to have much need to talk about the whole thing, really. Recipes are just talking about garlic cloves. Like put 1 clove of garlic in here or whatever. But yeah, maybe it's called a bulb. So this whole thing, this massive load of garlic cloves just gets roasted all together. And like the top's cut off it just a little bit. And then you can just take out this roasted garlic. Maybe there's some salt on it or something, I'm not sure. This roasted garlic, and just eat it like that. And it's strong, as you can imagine. It's just pure garlic. And the morning after, I think everyone knows that you've had this thing, so you have to be careful when you eat it. But I do really like it. It's like I said, I've never had garlic like that before, apart from when coming to Japan. I imagine it might be good for you. I think if I look up like garlic, there's probably some good properties in it. Although I'm not sure what they are, but that's just my general image of garlic. Other things we had were like some like deep fried camembert, which is very, very nice, and some like battered leek that you dip into a nice sauce. And then one of my favorites, and my wife's favorite as well, is like tempura battered chicken. And it's covered on the top with loads and loads of this bright red ginger, which is called beni shoga here in Japan. And I suppose, like garlic, ginger's another thing that we sort of put, I mean, in the UK, back in England, that we sort of put into recipes, but you don't normally see it. And we certainly don't have any of it that's bright red, like really bright red. But there is a ton of it all over this thing. So as you can imagine, it's a really strong gingery flavor. It's almost spicy, it's so strong. Another thing that I had that I quite like is like chicken breast on like a skewer, and you've got some like wasabi sauce to dip it in. It's been a long time actually, come to think of it, since I had wasabi. I think the last time I had it was when I went to like a sort of sushi place. Like one of those where all the sushi dishes are rotating on a, what do you want to call it? I'm struggling to think of the word to describe this thing. It's a conveyor belt. That's a good word for it. So they're all going around the shop on a conveyor belt. I believe it's called kaiten sushi officially, but often I'll have some like soy sauce and I'll put some wasabi in it and then eat it. But that's very, very small amounts. Anyway, it had been a while since I'd had wasabi, and I had dipped my chicken into it. And no, I didn't do that. That's what you're supposed to do. Instead, I thought, oh, I like wasabi, I'll get some of this. And I picked some up with like chopsticks and just put it like on top of it. And I just put it straight into my mouth, and wow, it was hot. Much hotter than I remember it being. And it was the kind of hot where you think, oh my goodness me, why on earth did I just do that? It was like my eyes were watering and my mouth was just burning. And I like hot stuff. I like English mustard, which is almost sort of like the same thing in terms of how hot it is. But yeah, I definitely put too much on there. Anyway, the whole night was, I would say the whole night. We were only out for a couple of hours. We could have gone out for longer. My wife's parents did say, if you need to be any longer, just let us know. But I don't feel like we did. I mean, I don't feel like we did need to be out any longer. I think we had like a really good time, even though it was short. But yeah, really fun. Like I say, it would be nice to be able to do that again sometime. Maybe like not wait an entire year again before being able to do that. But I don't know. Unless we ask my wife's parents, my parents-in-law, to look after the kids, it's not really something that we can do. And obviously we don't want to burden them too much by asking them to keep looking after our children all the time. So I don't know, maybe the next time will be in another year's time. But either way, I suppose we'll look forward to it and enjoy it all the more if it does take that long until the next time. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed listening to today's episode, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye-bye.